Hi guys! Okay, today's video is going to be about owning your journey, or how I've been spending the past 2.5 months working on owning my journey. And I wanted to share the experience with you guys today and what it means for me and what it potentially could mean for the channel. So let's put that down before I give it a good old spill. Whew, this is going to be an interesting video for many reasons. Owning your journey is something that I've discovered for me represents owning it with your body, mind, and spirit or soul, and owning your journey and owning your life. Not necessarily the same thing. One may take you to the other. So we're going to start off by talking about how I embraced owning the part of my journey that deals with my mind. And in this particular instance, it had to do with transforming the space I lived in. I moved home 3 years ago after living on my own. And when I say on my own, okay, first 5 years was in residence and I had roommates, but for the most part of that 30 years on my own. And I discovered that what the person that I became in those 30 years, I lost in the 3 years that I lived here. And it was time to reclaim that person, because to be honest, I liked that person. She was strong and independent and caring and compassionate and kind and giving. And yes, she had her moments because she was a tigress, and when you pissed her off, you got it, because she took no shit. But it took a lot to get her there. Let's be honest. But I lost her along the way since I've moved home, and it was time to reclaim that person. And the journey began with the mind, because I'm very pitta oriented, so my mind kind of governs all of it. And I did do a video on aesthetics that explained some of this, but I wanted to elaborate with it. For example, when I moved in, I moved from having a relatively 700 plus square foot one bedroom apartment to 2 tiny rooms in my mom's house. And all of my stuff came with me, including a beautiful double bed that I've had forever and I love. But it was making this room completely non-functional because it took up the entire space, and I had to have a desk in here because this is also my office space. I didn't have room for a dresser. I finally made room for a bookcase, but boy oh boy was it tight. So when I'd wake up in the morning and walk in here in the evening, although to be honest I basically live in this room, I would just feel depressed and claustrophobic, and just like walls were coming in on me. And you know what, that affects your mind too. The walls start to mentally come in on you, and it's not a nice feeling. I want to wake up in a space that when I look around, I kind of go, this is mine, and I smile. Like my clothes aren't in bins and my books aren't in bins, and you know, I'm actually settled and living in the space that I'm living in. So I had made the decision a few years ago, but then obviously job loss, COVID, to downsize my double bed to a twin or a single bed, embracing the spiritual spinsterhood. Yes. So this summer I did that, and I will do a vlog separately on the pros and cons of the bed specifically that I picked and the mattress that I selected. But for now, it was one of the best decisions I could have made. There's room now for a dresser to put my clothes in. There's room now on the floor to actually do yoga, which I haven't been able to do since I moved in. And the space is bright and light and airy and has room for creativity and expansion, and I feel that in my emotions, in my energy, in my mind. So one of the ways I owned my journey mentally, or the mind aspect of my journey, was by owning the fact that I am now a spiritual spinster And there's no point in me sleeping single in a double bed when I can sleep single in a single bed. I didn't get rid of my bed because I do love it. It is now, my mom has a spare room with a double bed in it, but no headboard or proper bedding. So it's now in there with my side table. So I haven't completely lost it. But that was definitely a huge part of the journey. The second way that I owned my journey was through body. This is a tough one to talk about, and it's one of the reasons why I'm actually on camera. Besides the weight, I have always, because I haven't always been overweight, but I've always had issues. And people usually say body issues, but it's not just body, it's this. One of the biggest struggles I've had is being very ethnic and having very ethnic features in a very Caucasian community that I grew up in, and how very much, especially like in the 70s, 80s, 90s, it was not embraced as beautiful. And even to my own family, I'm the darkie in the family, so even in my own family it was a huge struggle. And my sister was the beauty and I was the brain, and sometimes they'd say beauty and beast, and all of this stuff, plus a lot of things I'm not going to talk about here, did add to me having huge issues with my appearance and the fact that I am not classically beautiful. And this is not me having like a bad day or not feeling my hair is looking right today or my body's not looking right today, or oh my god, I've gained some weight. It's not about that. It's body dysmorphia is where you begin to see yourself in a very morphed view that is consistent. It becomes your truth. So when I say to people that I feel like I look this way or I look this way, it's not like I'm having a bad day and I feel like that. It's this is the truth that I have accepted about myself, which is, to be honest, a little heartbreaking. And when I came to the realization that I suffered from body dysmorphia, it brought me on another healing journey to heal the body, and not just the physical body, but more so the acceptance of my face and what I look like. And to be honest, I've recorded this video 5 times because I kept getting uncomfortable, and then I reviewed the footage and it turned out I hadn't turned the mic on, so I have to record it again. But watching me talking to you guys, I almost didn't do it again because I wanted to start crying at how I looked. But I'm desperately trying to own the journey. So I'm here one more time in front of the camera, and I'm trying to own this part of my life. Own the fact that I am ethnic and I am colored and I have the features that are not typically considered beautiful, but it's okay. And one of the main things that I realized with my body dysmorphia is how much I was slapping my ancestry in the face. You guys know how much my mama and papa, my grandparents, mean to me, and I have some of their features. So every time I look at myself and I scorn myself for the big nose and the buggy eyes, I'm scorning them, and that's not okay. So not okay. And I know I should do it for me, but if the stepping stone in healing this part of my journey is doing it for their memory, then I'm willing to take that step. So I'm back in front of the camera again. And please guys, like, I know you mean well, but when you're like, oh no, Kayla, you're beautiful, it's not a truth in anybody's eyes. And I know inside I am, and I accept that. I do. But this is what it is, and that journey is going to be a tricky one to walk, but I'm going to keep trying. Now, the other way that body dysmorphia has affected me, even when I wasn't overweight, is I would buy really cute clothes and then I wouldn't wear them. I would wear huge, oversized, frumpy potato sacks. And there were a few reasons for that. One is I had the belief, and I still kind of do, that pretty clothes are for pretty people, and I can't justify wearing it. Like, they're not meant for people who look like me. They're meant for people who look like anybody else but me. So that was another struggle that I had. Body dysmorphia And clothing is also going to be a huge part of this. So when you guys see people doing videos with clothing hauls, especially if they are plus size, understand that they are probably doing a healing journey similar to the ones that I'll be doing when I share outfits with you guys now, because I'm trying to get comfortable in my own skin, and I'm trying to own that this is okay. It's okay to look like me. It's okay to be overweight. It's okay to be ethnic. It's okay to not be what other people would consider beautiful or perfect. But it's not even a day-by-day struggle, guys. It's a minute-by-minute struggle sometimes. So you will see some clothing. This top was actually one of the new outfits I bought for YouTube and for vlogging, and we're going to get to that in a combination of two of the journeys that I'm taking. But clothing is a struggle all on of itself, because it's very hard when you are plus size to find clothing that fit you and are also pretty. I find that the industry itself almost punishes you for being overweight, and a lot of the clothing that you can get in actual shops like Reitman's and Susie Shear's, and if you can even get them to fit you in those stores, sometimes they have plus size, but their plus size is like 1X, 2X. I'm like, no girl, honey, 3X, 4X, 5X over here, please. So it's hard to find clothing that fit you, and when you start to get into those sizes, the colors start to be drab, the style is very bland, and it's really potato sacky. So I did find an online shop that has pretty clothes for plus size people and affordable, because also I'm unemployed right now, so I need to factor all of those things in, buying clothes for job interviews and hopefully that office job that is going to be around the corner very soon. All of that aside, these are all aspects of body dysmorphia that I've had to deal with, and I'm not the only one. So always show some grace and compassion when you see people even doing videos or vlogging that aren't your ideal. See beyond that and enjoy the content instead, and hopefully you'll be able to do that with this video. Now it's time to own the journey of our spirit, and for this I was inspired to do a ritual healing paint by numbers. There's an image that I've had in my Pinterest forever that I've always loved, but now, like, there's two ways you could look at that image, and I always looked at it in a positive way, but now I see the sad part of the image, which is kind of funny, but not. So it is usually, it's a kitten or a puppy, and it's like in a house, and there's a water spill, and they see their reflection in the water, and it's usually either a tigress for the kitten or wolf for the puppy. And I always loved this image because it made me see the journey I had taken from the scared and abused little girl to the woman that I became when I lived on my own, who was fearsome and powerful and strong and confident, and would stand up for and protect others, but always have compassion at the same time. And I have found that it took me 30 years to find that tigress within, and within the 3 years that I've lived here, I've been losing her, and it's time to reclaim her again. And there's all kinds of reasons why that's happening. I do suffer from CPTSD. I'm in the house that has a lot of triggers, living with a parent that was part of the abuse. There's also family dynamic issues that play into this, and when I lived on my own, I wasn't in it all the time, but now I'm in it all the time, and it's really taken its toll on me. So I need to have a drink of water because my throat's getting dry. I'm gonna own a journey. But it's time for me to find the tigress again. So I did find a paint by numbers, and I'm going to actually do the paint by numbers in a ritual way. So I'm going to start by doing the background because that pre-existed before I stepped into the frame, so to speak. Then I'm going to do the little kitten, and the little kitten is going to take ownership of all of the negative emotions and feelings that have started to come back. I'm gonna leave that with the child that I was. and then I'm going to build out the floor, and then I'm going to do the tigress. And the tigress is going to be reclaiming and owning the woman I've become. So it's going to be an interesting journey, and you'll probably see me in vlogs, little clippets of me continuing to work on it, because I'm going to take my time with it. And I've decided, like, I want to work on it when those emotions are up front, not just to work on it. It is a healing spiritual journey that I'm taking with this paint by numbers, and I'm hoping to encourage you to look at paint by numbers in a whole new light. So there you go. The final way that I want to own my journey is to actually have one, to actually have a life. So yes, for 30 years I built up who I was and really liked who I became as a person. This aside, who I became inside as a person. But I worked 2 jobs for almost most of my adult life, and regardless of 2 jobs or 1, I lived pretty much paycheck to paycheck. My first and only real vacation, where it's not like family vacation where you're literally going and sitting in a different person's house doing nothing, was when I was 24 in 1994, and I went to Disney World. That's over 25 years ago. Start living a life. And I want to take you guys along on that journey. So I started just a few weeks ago when I went to visit my soul sister Sue in Toronto. She had very, very recently lost her father to lung cancer, and we haven't seen each other in over 2 years because we actually don't visit each other a lot. We're in different cities, and she hated coming into Toronto. She hated the city, so we didn't see each other much. But she's one of those relationships where as soon as you do see each other, you're right back there. Everything is there, and the love is there, and the caring and the support and the jokes and the humor and sometimes the disagreements, but it's just right back to where, you know, it's one of those relationships. No time has passed. It's a real thing. So we met up in Toronto, and I took her to her favorite sushi place as a belated birthday present for her, and we had a really good visit. I think she needed it too. I definitely needed it, and it also put a lot of things in perspective for me with respects to life and living it, enjoying it, and embracing it the best way that works for you. When I was in Toronto, occasionally, not even every year, but occasionally, I would go to the ROM, the Royal Ontario Museum. I love the museum. I love the museum. It's been even longer since I've been to the theater. Definitely miss the theater. I think the last thing I saw was Wicked, which I saw twice because I loved it that much. And I also love Casa Loma, but again, that's a place you only go to like maybe once in like 5 years. And I've never been to the Distillery District. I can't say I've never been to Center Island, but it's been well over a decade since I've been to Center Island. I've never been to the aquarium. Like, there's so many things I've not done in my own city. And it's not even about a staycation. It's about just living life and having some fun. So I've decided that it's time. There's an Australian young lady who recently moved to Toronto, she like 4 months ago. And in those 4 months, she has vlogged more about the city than I have. And she has done more in the city than I have. And it's inspired me to get off my duff and to start exploring Toronto again. So I'm hoping that you guys will enjoy those vlogs, those type of vlogs where I take you on dates with me, like girlfriend hangouts, and we visit some places I'm curious about, we visit some places that are favorites of mine, and we do some events in the city that I've never done but always wanted to, or I'm really curious about, like some ghost walks perhaps for September and October. And I'm hoping that you guys understand that one of the reasons I changed the channel from Wayward Witch to Wayward Life, and have stressed both on Instagram and here that I'm sharing a holistic, with a W, holistic view of my life, is because I need to claim that. And also because, honestly, I've never felt like anyone would care about me enough to want to come along And I've learned through YouTube and Instagram that there are people who care about me, and that I have friends and they are interested in the everyday of my life, and I'm hoping will want to come along on the journey. And I look forward to seeing you more in future videos. And we will talk about this camera in one of those future videos, and about the terrifying process that I'm going through in stepping into vlogging. But once again, owning my journey. So, if you've made it to the end of this video, I'm very, very grateful. Thank you for joining me, and I look forward to content for September. I have some interesting things planned, and if you are missing and wanting the witchy content, the spiritual content, the more healing content, as you've probably seen in previous vlogs and in this one, there are aspects that will generally always hold to that, like the paint by numbers ritual painting that I'm doing. But it's not always going to be that sort of channel anymore. It's that information is going to be mainly reserved for Patreon. Now, it doesn't mean you have to be a paying Patreon to get some of that content. If you have been following me there, then you know that I sometimes do public content, and as long as you follow me, you don't have to be a paying member, but follow me, you have access to that content. And if you follow my community on YouTube or my stories on Instagram, I will always let you know when free content is posted. Sometimes it'll be for a limited time, like right now there's 4 ritual night spent a ritual night with me where I share 4 rituals with you guys, and that's up till the end of this month. So hopefully some of you have gotten a chance to see it. By the numbers it looks like some of you figured it out, but there will be other content like that, whether it's posts, PDFs, or even exclusive videos that are up for a little bit of time for you guys. So if you're looking for that, join me over on Patreon. Otherwise, I hope that you'll stick around and help me own my journey and share your journey with me. In fact, if there's anything this video's inspired you to kind of reassess in your life, parts of your life that you need to own your journey on, I'd love to know in the comments below, and we can start to get some dialogues going. It's always great to grow and learn together. So until next time, I bid you guys a very fond farewell, and I have no idea how to end this video, and my battery is dying, and the camera's already overheated twice. So hopefully this is recorded, and if not, I don't know. But for now, bye!